Miss Hooper, and I am a part of the RTI team, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what RTI squared is and what will happen if your child is in RTI. So thank you for listening today. So here on the screen is a picture of our RTI squared staff. We've got Miss White, Miss Hooper, Miss Patrick, and Miss Patrick is on maternity leave until after fall break, but she will be back after fall break. And then we have Miss Horn, and we are the interventionist. So if your child is in a tier, then they will come see one of us. So I want to tell you a little bit about what RTI squared is. So RTI squared stands for Response to Instruction and Intervention. We give a benchmark assessment called Easy CBM 3 times a year, once in August, once in December, and once in May. And from there, we take that data and put children into tiers. So if your child scores in the bottom 10th percentile on Easy CBM, they are considered tier 3 and are likely to receive our services from the interventionist. If your child scores in the 11th to the 25th percentile, then they are considered tier 2, and they are also likely to receive our services. If your child scores in the 26th to the 99th percentile, then they are considered tier 1, and they will not receive the services of the interventionist. They will stay in their general education classroom and receive further instruction or enrichment during that time. We also want to let you know that we don't just look at Easy CBM when making these decisions. We look at other forms of data like teacher input, running records, common formative assessments, things like that. So here are our goals for your children if they end up in a tier with us, with the interventionist. So for first grade, for math, the end of the year goal is for them to get 14 problems correct out of 16 problems on our progress monitoring that we do. We progress monitor every 2 weeks using Easy CBM. So for math, we are progress monitoring on numbers and operations, and our goal is for them to get 14 problems out of 16 problems correct. That's our end of the year goal. Our first grade reading goal, we progress monitor on letter sounds, phoneme segmentation, word reading fluency, and passage reading fluency. For first grade, our major goal that we're working on is word reading fluency and passage reading fluency. And those end of the year goals are 31 words in a minute for word reading and 37 words in a minute for passage reading. So here are some ways that you can help your child at home. For reading, the interventionist will send home books for your child to read, practice reading at home. So if you would read those books 3 times with your child and then sign the book that you listen to them read it and return it to school, that's great practice for them. These are texts that they should be familiar with because we've read them several times in class together. You'll also work on having them read fluently, which means they're not having to stop and sound out the words. We want them to sound like they're talking when they're reading. And then if you'll also work on their sight words. These are words that they should have memorized so that they can easily recall it in a text and they're not having to think about it. In math, it would be great if you could work on identifying numbers 1 through 20 and then also writing those numbers 1 through 20. You'll also practice counting to 120. And then we also would love if you'd work on counting objects with 1-to-1 correspondence. So if we give your child 16 objects, they should be able to count those 1-to-1 and then also be able to group them into a group of 5 or a group of 10 to make it easier to count. And then also work on more or less. So if you have 5 cookies and 3 cookies, which one is more, which one is greater, and then which one's less. So thank you so much for your time and for listening to just some information about RTI squared. If you have any questions, there's our phone number on the screen, and then if you go back to this slide with our pictures on it, our email addresses are there too. We look forward to working with your children this year, and thank you for your time.